everyone, it's all welcome back to my channel. Firstly, before I start today's video, I want to know how you guys are feeling, because recently you've been asking how I've been doing, especially the last few months, because it was just when you started a bit concerned because I wasn't doing many videos. However, we are going to make that change, so let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how you guys are feeling, because I would like to hear what you are feeling. For today's video, I am going to be doing it first on my channel, and I'm going to be doing a makeup look inspired by a certain time period, or historical period. So in today's video, I will be doing a makeup video in the style of a show and tell of what makeup was like during the 1940s decade. So it is a very neutral face makeup and ready coral lips. It is inspired by 1940s Hollywood actresses, all of which there will be pictures inserted within this video. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be demonstrating to you guys while talking about the products that I have been using in today's video. So without being said, let's get started. Let's start with foundation. Now in the 1940s, a lot of women, actresses, and maybe even women that lived back then, because during the first half of the 1940s we were in World War II. So a lot of things, including makeup, were very, very limited because everybody was on rations. So what I decided to do was, for my face, I just went for what I normally wear the rest of the year, as opposed to wearing one that looks more tan, because women didn't really do that a lot because it was quite a turbulent time. So the foundation that I used is the Rimmel Match Perfection in the shade 001 Fair Porcelain. This used to be called Light Porcelain, but it's just a really nice one. This is the lightest shade they do, because in the 1940s the makeup was always very flawless and full coverage, and to apply that I used a buffing brush from Real Techniques. I did try on applying it with a makeup sponge, but it wasn't giving me the coverage and finish that would really inspire the look for today's video. So what I've done was I used a couple of pumps and I put this all over my entire face, forehead included, because I wanted to make sure that it was a flawless canvas, especially when you see a lot of the photographs, because a lot of them were black and white in a lot of old war pictures, including Meet Me in St. Louis, and a more recent one that I watched the other night called The Flying Deuces. Even though that the pictures were black and white, you still had a very natural looking canvas. To add a little bit of extra coverage, I used this Maybelline Fit Me Concealer and I applied that on any areas that I had a few blemishes on, followed by the powder that I have here, which is the Rimmel Stay Matte in 001 Transparent. This is a really nice one because women had to work with very little, because a lot of things were rationed, especially at least in the UK anyway, particularly makeup, where they had to make use with a lot of what they had, especially if they were on the go. In terms of powder products, I've done a contour, a very light contour, which actually during the war a lot of people used a darker concealer just to do along their jaw and up their cheekbones, because they might not have had powder, or they might not have been able to afford it, because a lot of the time people were poor, or they were losing a lot and just going through a very scary time. In terms of contour, I used this NYX Butter Bronzer in the shade 02, and I've just done it as doing a weird twisted fish face. I trace it along the natural cheekbone area, and then I blended that in. I absolutely love this so much because this blends very well, and this is definitely one that I could use if I was wanting to recreate ones from other periods. In terms of blusher, it was more on the natural side, and I went for a more brownie blusher, because in the war women were always working with very little. So what I did was use this Kiko Baked Radiant Blush in the shade 01 at the face blush. It also has a bit of highlighting as well, particularly in the golden era of Hollywood, when you see the likes of Judy Garland, Thelma Todd, Zazie Pitts, and Mae Bush as well. So when you see a lot of the close-up pictures of them, they had a very subtle glow, because it was just a lot of the streaky highlight didn't come in until much later, so this acted as a great introduction to blusher. If women didn't have blusher, they also used the same lipstick that they had on just to apply to their cheeks, and that would also add a pop of colour to act as a substitute. And that is really everything to the face. So we're going to move on to eyes. Now, the eyebrows in the 40s were a lot more filled in. and then as opposed to looking more spare. So we're going to move on to the eyes. Women in the 40s always wore very natural eye makeup. So what I did for this eye makeup was I set my eyelids with concealer, and then to use as a base I went in with my MUA Burning Embers palette, and then I used this colour here which is called Beacon, and I applied this from brow bone to lash line to act as a base for the rest of the look. Then in the crease of my eyes I took a mix of different shades. So the first one I took was this orangey colour here which is called Warmth, and then I just applied this through the socket line, and it was very subtle, so you barely see that at all. Then I used a mix of this shade here and this shade here. The ones that were to define the outer corner of the eye were the shades Kindling and Fume. Women tended to use a lot more matte shades especially because everything was limited and they wouldn't have been able to do anything too extravagant. They wanted to look put together whilst using like very little number of products that they had. Highly recommend this product and all of the MUA ones, they are fabulous. Now moving on to eyeliner. Now eyeliner was definitely a key feature to a lot of 1940s looks, especially now when you might look at the photos of people now that might have been restored. When I seen a lot of photos from the wall, they were in black and white, but you can definitely still see some eyeliner along the tight line or waterline, so along the top. So the eyeliner that I use is a liquid liner pen, and this is the Ted Baker one that I've got here in black, and I just did a thin no wings line. I didn't do anything underneath my waterline because it appeared too heavy, and eyeliner on the waterline did not come in until much later, so there was definitely some form of black liner. You can also use a cardinal or kohl pencil, but liquid liner will also do the same job as well. And fun fact, liquid liner does a lot more than just doing eyeliner, because in the war stockings weren't available, so ladies used to use eyeliner to draw a line up the top of their legs, and that would just illustrate them and make people think that they were actually wearing stockings. So at least they had something that they could use if they were unable to get stockings due to rationing. I really like this liquid liner. It's very precise, and I also like how thin the nib is, because I could also use this for various time periods if I wanted to do another one of these, and liquid liner was a key feature. And then the last little bit that they did, although this was totally optional, I've took this golden shade here which was called Flash, a champagne shimmery colour, and then applied it with my finger because it made it more subtle. Moving on to mascara. Again, the ladies were trying to put something together, even though it was a very scary time and they still wanted to look glamorous without going overboard. So the mascara that I use is the Extra Super Lash by Rimmel. I absolutely love this because it is eye sensitive as well, like it's sensitive friendly. So if you guys are ever looking for a mascara that is suitable for sensitive eyes, I would highly recommend this. Sadly, it's not waterproof, so if you are looking for waterproof, there are definitely more ones out there, but I suppose we can't have the best of both worlds all the time. I absolutely love this because it gives the impression of false eyelashes, and then people, and women especially back then, were wanting to give the impression they were wearing something even if they didn't own it themselves. And then the last thing that we're going to be talking about is lips. Now this lipstick is a video that I wrote a couple of videos back, and you guys were all commenting and saying, what was your lipstick? And it's this one. So the first thing I did was I went in with a lip liner. The one I used was a sleek lipstick in the shade Final Call. And then for the actual lipstick itself, I took this one. This is a Kiko Smart Fusion lipstick in the shade 411. I featured this in one of my spring lipstick videos, and this was a one that I've been wearing for quite a number of videos, and I thought I would show you this one today. This was hard to get right because in the 40s there was a lot of like fiery orange reds, whereas a lot of my red lipsticks were more pillar box red that didn't come in until later. So I think it may have been the next decade that it came in. I really like these Smart Fusion lipsticks. Normally I'm more of a satin lipsticks kind of person, but at least it gives a very subtle wash of colour especially when you had to, in a time where you had to make do with other things. And it would make a good substitute blush as well, say if you didn't have any powder, because it's not too intense of a finish. In that way, this is more of a balmy finish and you could use it on other parts of your face, hence the old saying, lip to cheek. So that is my finished look here. So after like finishing off with the lipstick, I took some concealer to clean up the edges, because in Hollywood the lips were very clean. And once that was done, that is this makeup look complete. I really hope you guys enjoyed me doing something a little bit different on my channel. I would love to do something like this again. Let me know what decade you'd like me to recreate, because that was a lot of fun that I did quite a bit of research on, since it was the anniversary of the Normandy landings, aka D-Day. So I thought it would be appropriate, and with it being the 80th anniversary of the ending of the war. This was a really fun look to put together, because this is something that I used to wear quite often, but I didn't really wear it much on camera, so I thought bring it to camera, because why not? Be sure to smash the thumbs up button and comment and subscribe below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're the first to hear of any new content, and I will see you all very soon for another video. Don't forget to tune in for a special video that I've got coming on June 16th, because I have a feeling you will definitely enjoy this. In the meantime guys, show this video some love, and I'll see you all soon in the next video. Thanks for watching.